Hey again, YouTube, Nutjob with Machete back with, of course, Machete. This is an Aranyik 25-inch Latin machete. Now normally you guys will see me use something by like Cold Steel or maybe Schrade or something like that. I think I'm getting a Condor fairly shortly. But this is actually my first foray into Aranyik's machetes and tools and everything. And you will see a few more of them coming down the pipe. But the first one I thought I'd show you is the Latin machete. So it's like I said, the 25-inch model. There is a longer model, a 27-inch model. It's about $5 US more, but this thing is actually pretty damn awesome. Now, if you're expecting to buy one of these and get like a wall hanger, something that is absolutely spotless and all that stuff, and perfect fit and finish and all of that, you're not going to get that. The main reason is they're tools. They're farm tools or they're jungle tools or something like that, right? So if you, for instance, I got a sickle, billhook, this, and a net from Miles at Aranyik. And each one of them is gorgeous and ugly at the exact same time. Like they're fantastic. I love the NF. The sickle, it's got this ugly beauty to it. Anyways, they're all designed as tools rather than, you know, something I can wave about tactically or hang up on the wall. So that's just something to note. Now let's take a gander at this thing. And you can see the steel is stamped and it is 5160 carbon steel. And in fact, if you look really close, you can see the Made in Thailand stamp. You can also see obviously on it that it has been heat treated. You can see that beautiful bluing color. It is really, really tough and really, really hard. So it's got both those qualities you want in a really good carbon steel. It is also really sharp. There's actually multiple blade profiles on this thing. I love it. Up here it's a bit more convex almost, so that if you have to chop into something at the very end and you're using all the weight of the machete to get through it, it pushes that material aside. Down here, it is damn sharp, like razor sharp. And of course, I've touched it up just a little bit. Miles does this in his videos, by the way, of which I'll put a link to his channel down below. He's got a bald spot on his leg from just testing these out, but hair shaving sharp right in this spot right here. And of course, depending on what you're using this for, you might want to make the profile more uniform. I think I like it the way it is. It works great. Of course, I've tested it out and we'll go to that footage in a moment, but I still want to talk about this for a little bit. Now, full tang construction. This is one solid piece of steel. And then, if I remember correctly, this is Eucalyptus handles, and then they're pinned in place. You'll see, like I said, you're not expecting a wall hanger. So don't be surprised if you do order it and the fit isn't 100%. To me, this thing is still pretty damn gorgeous. And it's a really light chopper for about, I think it's 2 pounds. I'll put the specs and everything below this time. And one of the things I really did like about it is, like I said, it's full tang. You can see here, the tang actually extends into the handle, and we can call this the ricasso if you want. Lets you choke up if you wanted to do just little chops, if you're just clearing the garden or something like that. Now, speaking of clearing the garden, why don't we go to my tests? I did decide to do a meat test on this, even though it's a tool rather than a weapon. I just wanted to see what it did, so I used some I've-round beef in the package to simulate the humans a little bit. Beef, not pork. I'm kind of getting porked out, sorry guys. And then I have some cherry wood that I split up with it, and I'll show you that. There was one piece that had a massive knot in it, so I just drove this into it as far as it would go and then had to work it out afterwards. Took about 5-10 minutes. Not on camera, boring as hell. But yeah, let's go check out those tests and then we'll come back and talk about this thing a little bit.
Look at those wound tracks. 3 chops. Damn. And this is a machete designed for farm work, not tactical work.
So I mean, just 3 chops into that meat and it went in. And I was not really trying to power all the way through that meat. I kind of learned my lesson on one of the recent purchases of mine, which is a Tops Cut 4.0, that if you put your all into it and you actually go through the meat, you can hit the tripod and do some damage to it. So the tripod you're on has a little bit of a nick from one of my other tests, which you'll see the video for that in the future. So for this one, I didn't want to do everything into it and, you know, fuck up my camera equipment. But even without putting all that power into it, I mean, chopping those blocks, I was on my knees and just dropping the machete, letting the machete do the work. And with this thing, I mean, like I said, the edge with its multiple profiles, it does the work really, really well. And in fact, when you see this thing, you might actually see it kind of look like a dap. Sorry about the change in angle, guys. The battery pack actually just died while I was in the middle of talking about this thing. Admittedly, I realized I was talking about it like, you know, it's my fiance who is going to get pissed if I actually do that. So, as I was saying, it is this design of the machete with its upswept tip, and you can see it's swept up at the back as well. It kind of reminds me of a dot, or if you guys saw my Thai machete review, what the hell, we'll put a link to it like here. Very similar overall design, right? Not a two-hander, but you can, if you needed to, you know, get a few fingers down there and just power through it if you had to. Now you'll see, like I said, I mean, the finish on it, I love this hammered industrial finish with this bluing on the steel where you can see the heat treatment. Just absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and one of the things I didn't mention, it's got a ground-in fuller to keep the weight down just a little bit. Arguably it is a little heavy. And some people might not like this handle, you know, a natural wood handle. You might want to wrap it to get a little bit more grip. But I'm inches away from the camera, and I'm actually not afraid of swinging this thing in front of the camera because that grip is really, really nice. And actually, let's take a look at the handle. You can see it increases in size. It's got a little bit of a swell, and then almost a foot at the back. Goes in and comes out back. And that makes it really great for if you have to do one-handed power chops. Trying to get through, you know, something fairly thick. Yeah, I mean, light work, this thing went through. I had to get that cutting stand out, and I keep it in a spot where there's a lot of like thistle and hops and a few other things. Basically, you know, weeds and vines and everything growing all over it. So I actually had to hack it out with this. And that's, you know, the light material that you would normally have to use a machete for. And then if you have to use it for heavier material, twigs, vines, chunks of wood or anything like that, that's where those cherry tests, that's where that came in. So, I mean, you can use this to split the lumber if this was the only thing you had. If you had one tool in your pack, you know, this could actually do it. I'd still recommend, you know, knife and the rest of the stuff. But if you had to, you can process wood with this. I mean, you might have to chop baton, 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 baton. But 5160 steel, especially the way Miles has heat treated this thing, is really tough and really hard. So, I mean, after all that smashing into the lumber, let's get out of the way and see if I can get the edge better. There's no nicks, no burrs, no folding over. And I mean, one of those knots was about as thick around as my wrist, so that actually says something. Miles, your Wong Fu is strong. So yeah, I mean, that's about all I can say about this thing. I'll put a link to Aranyik's store below. be aware the prices are in US dollars, so if you're from elsewhere, you'll have to convert them over. This was 25 US dollars. Now, prices are subject to change, so make sure you check the website. You can order them through the website. Miles does also sell it through Amazon.com if you wanted to go through there. I recommend going directly to his site because it's a lot better. And yeah, I mean, there's not really much more I can say about this thing. This thing is actually pretty sweet. Oh, it doesn't come with a sheath. That's one thing you need to be aware of. You don't get a sheath when you order the machetes or any of the tools or anything like that. But Miles can do up a sheath. You just have to contact him, and his email I'll also put below. It takes a little bit of while if you wanted to get a sheath, so just be aware of that. I think the guy I'm giving this to, he wants to make up his own sheath for it because he spends a lot of time down in Costa Rica, and I think he's looking forward to doing the leather work. So yeah, like I said, what else can I say? Awesome tool, you know, really strong, really tough. Not a hell of a lot of flex, but it's got a lot of power. So great, great machete. Thanks, Miles. Well, that's about it, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like videos like this, please feel free to click like. Feel free to subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And there will be more videos from Aranyik in the future. And feel free to share this video as much as you want. And until next time, guys, I'm Nutjob with a machete. Stay sharp.